Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I am Charlene Aaron. Obamacare remains the law of the land after an unexpected failed late-night vote on what's being referred to as a skinny repeal of the law in the Senate. Abigail Robertson brings us more from Washington.
After 7 years campaigning on a promise to repeal and replace Obamacare, Senate Republicans came up just one vote short of approving a measure to finally dismantle parts of the law.
This is, clearly a disappointing moment.
The measure was called skinny repeal because it only got rid of key parts of Obamacare, not all of it, and it didn't offer a replacement plan. 3 Republican senators, including John McCain, voted against their party. Senator McCain said he didn't vote for the measure because it had no replacement for Obamacare, saying on Twitter that skinny repeal fell short because it fell short of our promise to repeal and replace Obamacare with meaningful reform. The bill's defeat is a crushing blow to both Senate leadership and President Trump. As of now, there's no known path forward to repealing and replacing Obamacare. And with the failure in the Senate, President Trump says, just let Obamacare implode. Many Republicans were not huge fans of the failed bill, but wanted to pass it and use it as a starting point to work on Obamacare repeal that could be amended and changed in conference with the House. Following the vote, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer admitted on the floor Obamacare isn't perfect, and in an emotional moment, asked his colleagues across the aisle to do as John McCain said earlier this week and return back to regular order and work with one another.
All of us were so inspired by the speech and the life of the senator from Arizona. And he asked us to go back to regular order, to bring back the Senate that some of us who were here, have been here a while, remember. Maybe this can be a moment where we start doing that.
The White House is disappointed Republicans in the Senate can't unite to help them achieve this Trump campaign promise. And the administration wanted a policy victory as it's dealing with its own public infighting between Chief of Staff Ryan Priebus and the new communications director, Anthony Scaramucci, after Scaramucci blasted Priebus in a profanity-laced interview in The New Yorker. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders says this is just healthy competition.
This is a White House that has a lot of different perspectives because the president hires the very best people. They're not always going to agree. There are going to be a lot of different ideas. Unlike previous administrations, this isn't groupthink.
As for McCain, once the skinny bill failed, he called for the bill to go back to committee, where they can hold hearings and get input from both Republicans and Democrats. But the future on any more measures on Obamacare is unclear. Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Russia is pulling back the number of diplomats at its U.S. embassy. The move comes after the U.S. Senate approved financial sanctions against Russia, Iran, and North Korea. Part of the bill is aimed at punishing the country for meddling in the 2016 presidential election. It is also supposed to keep President Trump from waiving penalties on Russia unless Congress agrees. The Senate has sent the bill to the president to sign. Officials with the Russian Foreign Ministry say they will reduce the number of diplomats by September 1st. Well, U.S. military sources tell CBN News that North Korea is getting ready to test yet another intercontinental ballistic missile. Now the top general in the Army is speaking out, saying it will be soon time to take action. CBN's national security correspondent Eric Rosales was there when the general revealed his concerns.
In a candid interview at the National Press Club, U.S. Army Chief of Staff Mark Milley said North Korea is the biggest threat to America, and we can no longer take a wait-and-see attitude.
War in the Korean Peninsula would be terrible. However, a nuclear weapon detonating in Los Angeles would be terrible.
General Milley says the threat is serious and it's not going in a good direction. He says North Korea is a country with a wide variety of missiles, a sizable conventional force, along with chemical and nuclear weapons.
A war on the Korean Peninsula would be highly deadly. It would be horrific. The United States military, in combination with the South Korean military, would utterly destroy the North Korean military. But That would be done at high cost.
But the general says we are at a point in time where tough choices will have to be made.
We are going to have to make conscious decisions that are going to have significant consequences. And I'll just stop there. But it's not going to be a pretty picture, I can tell you that. It'll be very violent.
Violent and very likely deadly for all sides involved. Eric Rosales, CBN News, Washington.
The Palestinian Authority just increased the part of its budget that pays convicted terrorists and their families. As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, the move comes despite pressure from the United States to end the practice.
On Friday, July 21st, 19-year-old Omar al-Abed entered this home and murdered 70-year-old Yosef Salomon and his 2 grown children. These pictures showed the brutality of the murders.
The home was open, the door was unlocked because they were waiting for people from the community to come and celebrate with them the birth of this new grandchild. And within seconds, they were murdered in their own homes.
After the murders, Abed was shot and is now recovering in an Israeli hospital. But according to a long-standing policy by the Palestinian Authority, he'll now start receiving a salary.
From Friday, from the day that he was arrested, and he will get a life sentence for murder, and his salary eventually is going to reach 12,000 shekel, which is about in the area of $4,000 a month.
The U.S. and the European Union condemn this practice and have pressured the Palestinian leadership to stop. But according to Itamar Marcus of the Palestinian Media Watch, their funding has increased. In their 2017 budget, the PA increased spending to terrorist prisoners by 13% and by 4% to their families. This year, direct funding of terrorism has reached $355 million.
There's a slap in the face to the United States. There's a slap in the face to the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Senate that just met last week to decide what to do about this. And I'm hoping that the Senate and the American people and the Congress and the administration will act very firmly on this reward to terror.
The U.S. Senate is now considering legislation named after Taylor Force, a U.S. citizen killed by a Palestinian terrorist, to defund the Palestinian Authority if they continue to pay terrorists and their families. Senator Lindsey Graham told CBN News,
"We're going to keep that aid flowing with one condition. The Secretary of State has to certify that the Palestinian government is changing their behavior. If he can't do that, we'll cut that money off."
Marcus says the PA legitimizes these payments.
And people don't understand why, and I'll explain why this is so important. The Palestinian Authority claims to its people that they have a right to kill Israelis. Literally, a right to kill Israeli civilians, a right to kill women, children, babies. And they claim that a UN decision from the 1970s, which said that the Palestinians have the right to use all means to gain their rights, means they have a right to kill civilians. This is the way the Palestinian Authority interprets it, and they said it numerous times, even in the last few months.
Marcus argues passing the Taylor Force Act would send a powerful message to the PA that the United States rejects that kind of thinking. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, see how Ivanka Trump is pushing hard to get guaranteed paid maternity leave for workers here in the U.S. While the rest of the world has embraced paid family leave for new moms and even dads, the U.S. is just starting to discuss that, whether it should be a priority here and how to pay for it. Now, one of the nation's most famous moms, Ivanka Trump, is pushing to make it a reality. White House correspondent Jennifer Wishon brings us that story.
Can I have a hug? Oh.
When Pauline Young gave birth to her daughter Brianna, she took 3 months off.
I could use up to 6 weeks of sick leave for maternity purposes. I also had a number of annual leave hours, which is the same as vacation.
Under the Family Medical Leave Act, employers are required to protect an employee's job for 12 weeks while they take time off after giving birth or adopting a child. But they don't have to pay the worker. Many companies like Young's do let workers use their accrued sick and vacation days.
And what's that? A horse?
It's an important time for a mom and her baby.
I mean, this is a new life that's come into the world, and it's a big deal. It's a big change. You know, you have so many different feelings that you're experiencing at this time as a new mother. And so I can't imagine not having that opportunity to bond.
Research backs her up. Failure of a mom to spend adequate time with her baby early on can affect the child's health, cognitive development, and behavior. Dr. Brad Wilcox is a sociologist at the University of Virginia.
We know that kind of the more opportunities babies have to bond with their parents, especially their moms, the more likely they are to flourish later in life, both socially and emotionally.
The United States is the only industrialized nation in the world that doesn't guarantee moms pay while they're out on maternity leave. First daughter and mother of 3, Ivanka Trump, is using her role as presidential advisor to change that. During the campaign, she joined her father as he announced his plan to provide 6 weeks paid maternity leave to women working for companies that don't offer it.
My father has created a plan that is designed to bring relief.
This maternity leave will be paid straight out of the unemployment insurance fund. And again, this safety net will be completely paid for through savings within the program.
But as president, Trump, at Ivanka's urging, put $10 billion in his budget proposal to pay for it. States would be responsible for determining how much a mother gets. Senator Marco Rubio recently invited Ivanka to Capitol Hill to discuss her plans. He says lawmakers want to address the fact that many don't have children because they can't afford to take unpaid time off from work. Still, many Republicans don't like Ivanka's plan to use tax dollars to pay for it. On the other side of the aisle, many Democrats don't think it goes far enough. Romina Bacha is an economic expert at the Heritage Foundation.
Right. Any new federal benefit, it's much easier to expand it than to ever rein it back in. So that's the real concern, is that while this may be a very targeted and limited approach that's currently being envisioned by the president, once it's implemented, it will be subject to the same special interest pressures that other benefit programs are.
Bacha believes the federal government could make it easier for employers to come up with solutions that work for them and their employees.
There's a proposal in the Congress to increase flexibility for employers to provide the kind of benefit package that their employees value. And sometimes that means paid time off rather than overtime compensation in the form of cash that will be taxed.
Across the country, lawmakers are paying attention to the issue. California, Rhode Island, New Jersey, and New York currently or will soon all offer paid family leave. And here in Washington, D.C., City Council granted workers up to 8 weeks of paid leave. And in the private sector, there's a push to offer generous maternity and family leave policies in an effort to retain talent. For example, Netflix lets employees take up to 1 year off for a birth or adoption.
The problem arises more on the low-income and less educated women, especially those working in minimum wage jobs and other lower wage jobs. They tend to have less access to these types of benefits.
Still, research and public opinion seem to be colliding.
I think what most scholars in this area would acknowledge or recognize is that having opportunities for parents to take some leave with their child is really important in establishing that fundamental attachment between parent and child, typically between mother and child especially.
And there's the dilemma of who should pay for it, the government or private sector. The District of Columbia is taxing businesses to pay for its program. And then there's this. Some experts argue offering women a special work benefit will actually hurt their chances of getting hired or being promoted.
Very nice, Brianna.
Pauline Young says, take it from a mom. Employers should try to be accommodating.
Jobs need to be more supportive of the family.
And while Ivanka Trump will continue to use her powerful megaphone to push for paid leave, an agreement on how to get it done is still many births away.
Dear Jesus, thank you for Mama.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
Laughter is the best medicine, and it's time to get a dose of that good laughter. Studio 5 is serving it up with wife, mother, and comedian Allison Moore. Take a look.
I didn't know that you're not allowed to say after you do communion. I didn't know.
Now, you're a comedian, but you didn't always want to be a comedian. How did this all happen for you?
Right. So I didn't even know that there was a comedian trapped inside of me.
Oh, really?
Now, I used to get in trouble all the time in school, but, you know, just thinking that they were hating on my skills. That's all. Yeah, so I was doing this nonprofit event, and I hosted the event because I've always been very comfortable talking in front of people. I didn't know it was a thing, right? And so the comedian there, he's like, I don't know why you all got me. Allison's a comedian.
Wow.
So I'm like, can I get paid? When we grew up, we didn't watch comedy in our house. So, you know, like some of the comedians were just way too much for Mom. So she's like, no.
I can imagine. What was Allison's dream for Allison? What did you think you were going to do?
Well, when I was a little kid, I did think I was going to be an entertainer, but I kind of thought I was going to be a singer. The problem is my voice didn't think so. I didn't catch up with the dream.
During an impromptu Studio 5 jam session, Allison proved her voice had indeed not caught up with her dream.
I'm feeling the vibe, feeling the artistry happening. I have 3 children. You know, and then I'm like, well, maybe I'm gonna just do movies. But then I got married, I had children, so then my dream became, let's put these little kiddies through college. And I started working in human resources, and it was just in my own little world.
Okay. I'm trying to picture you in HR.
Yeah, firing people.
Now, I understand you had a conversation with God asking for millions.
Yes.
And something happened. Tell me that.
Yes.
What happened?
So that's the event that I was actually doing the hosting for. So a girlfriend of mine, we're from Hampton Roads, born and raised.
Okay.
And we used to say, well, when we become millionaires, we're gonna have a homeless shelter. Girl, we're going to take care of the orphans. And the Lord said so clear one day, well, why don't you show me what you're gonna do with the hundreds of dollars before I give you the millions? We're like, oh.
Oops.
Right, and so he's like, you know, there are already people that are out serving and out work. You didn't come up with this idea. Why don't you serve and help somebody else? So we're like, okay, we'll bet. And that's where we did this little nonprofit fundraiser event. We raised money. We're like, we're gonna give 100% of the money away. And that's where we had that gala.
Wow.
We hired the comedian, and he was like, well, no, she was the. So I really think that because I said, okay, you know what, Lord, we're gonna do what you said, dude, that he just kind of allowed that moment to be the moment. This is what happens when you serve me. I got all kinds of stuff here.
And you're obedient. You hear my voice and you listen. That said, this is probably not a good question. Why clean comedy? It seems that most comedians are not necessarily
they're not
clean.
Well, I don't curse in real life. So I didn't know I was a clean comedian. You know, they're like, girl, you clean.
Where do you find your material? What do you do?
It's completely observational. Like, it is just absolutely what happens, and it cycles through my brain. My mother passed away. So I have a really popular bit about just going through the whole funeral, the expenses of the funeral. Oh my God, that's...
You find humor?
Well, then I did not.
Okay.
People, get your life insurance together, please. Or be your child telling these jokes. You know, really what happened was my mother, she passed away in December 2015. And she had life insurance, but she had not had it for greater than 2 years, so the policy had not matured. I was my mother's oldest child, and she was not married. She was the only child, so I'm the family. All the responsibility was on me. The problem with that is I don't even know how to spell responsibility. We call the funeral home or the life insurance place, policy place, whatever, at like 9. And they're like, you have $746 coming to you. Girl, you playing. But I said, you know what, this is my mama. And I'm gonna make sure mama go out in style. Till I found out how much style cost. All of a sudden, my priorities started to change. Style ain't really as important as I thought it was when I was younger. Cause I'm looking like, oh my gosh. I said to the funeral director, I said, this is how much a casket costs? Do y'all price match? And I just like start freaking out. Oh my God, oh my God. We can't afford all of this. And then that, I mean, I was still grieving. There was a lot going on, and so I'm like, we can't do that. You gotta take this. Huh? I can't. It was really bad because I had been really strong up until that point, and then that was just it was just done. So I asked him, like, can I get the box that came in? Because it's the same shape. We can put it together at the house. He was all upset. Apparently it's offensive to ask the funeral director, can you BYOC? Bring your own casket. And the Lord came through. I mean, different people were just sewing into us, and it was just amazing. So then when we're at our house, and some friends are over, and my husband was like, no, what happened was after the funeral. So they're like, Allison, everything went really well. You know, the funeral was beautiful, baby. You know, I don't even know if I've ever seen a bad funeral. So my husband's like, yeah, but you should have seen her. She almost cut all that stuff out. So I'm like, we're gonna take off some of this other stuff because all this stuff is not as important. Like that pillow, take it out. You're not gonna send my mama to the make with a crook on her neck, now. Take that out, Take out that pillow, I'm looking at the list. Take out that sheet. She don't know she cold. He was like, you should see, your girl won't even gonna have flowers there. And I'm like, tell me more. What else did I do? What was my face looking like when I did that? And so then, yeah, that was my joke.
It's funny now.
It is,
not funny then.
People are like, oh my God, girl, I ain't laughed about my daddy passing away since. And I'm like, well, amen. And it gives me opportunity to really minister because then I'm like, well, the God of comfort is really available for you.
And to catch more of Allison's humor, find her on social media. She is sure to keep you laughing. We have more CBN NewsWatch right after this. There's a new chapter in the salvation story of Hollywood icon Steve McQueen, and CBN News has an exclusive first look. Pastor Leonard DeWitt is the man who led the King of Cool to Christ just months before he lost his battle with cancer. He shares the story in a new documentary produced by Pastor Greg Laurie.
And every Sunday we went to church, which I think that was just Steve's way. He wanted to make sure that he had all his questions answered.
I said each one of us is different, but God has a tailor-made plan for each of us. And he grinned, he said, you want to know if I'm born again, don't you? And so then he said, remember the Sunday that you invited people who wanted to receive Christ? When you gave that invitation, he said, that's when I accepted Christ.
That's it for now on CBN NewsWatch. Have a great day.